Yes. Hi everyone, welcome to today's Kora morning brew. We have here today Jukka Kantanen from Kolster Oy. I actually noticed Kolster is also now on campus here downstairs, so it's great we are all staying here in the same building. And we are going to learn today how important is patenting an industrial property to protect your business. So I just don't say anything else. I leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Annabelle. Good morning, everyone. So I work in Kolster. I'm a European patent attorney, and so I work in the field of protecting inventions and identifying inventions, and that way companies and people, our customers, will have patent portfolios and they can utilize them in their to benefit their business. And first, a few slides from our company. It's a quite old company and lots of experience, and it's also in Finnish scale and also the European scale. And established by Brew of Kolster already in the 19th century. And we work in all the IP fields and help our customers to register patents, utility models, trademarks, design rights, and domain names. And we offer services related to all these registered rights. So, me myself, I'm in the patents field, and especially in the software-related inventions. So I help protecting those. And here's a brief summary of what is patents, what do you get by patents, and why do we have patents. So, first of all, patent is a right that you can acquire, and so you can be a patent holder, or you can not be a patent holder. You're the public, the others who don't have patents. And you have benefits for both. And that's the basic reason you have patent systems. And governments have made laws that enable you to have patents. So first of all, as a patent holder, the basic thing is that you have a right, but it's a negative right. It's a right to deny others from exploiting the invention, which is the aim of the patent. And it's about commercial exploitation. It's not about private exploitation. So you can do anything you want at home, but if you make money, so that's then the interest of the patent holder. And once you have the patent, it's like stocks. You can sell stocks, and you can sell patents, but you can also license patents. You can give a license and limit the scope of the license. You can license the patent to 1, 2, or more parties called licensees, and then they give you money for licensing to have the rights for the patent. And on the other hand, if you are not a patent holder, patents give you information about where the technology is going, how it's developing. And also about who is operating in a certain field, so it's a business information too. But then again, because the patent holder will have the right to deny others, that is the public, the companies who make business, to exploit the invention, so that's why these patents limit your freedom to operate. Nevertheless, this is a trade-off, so technology advances thanks to patents, and then you get information. Information is shared, and it's a maximum of 20 years of protection. But it's not always 20 years because you have to maintain the patent, so that's the top. Maximum protection. So now, this is briefly about patents. If you have any questions, I can answer right now, but I think we could now take some look at what you can use patents by looking at 2 examples. Oh, sorry. Here's one nice excerpt from the Finnish Patent Office's web pages. So it's a really a frequently asked question. When can I ignore others' patents? It's a good question. If I could ignore patents, then I would have freedom to operate. But it's a very broad answer too. But basically, if you are developing anything, any devices, and programming is developing, it causes devices nowadays to operate in a novel way. So then patents are your concern. You can't ignore them. And it applies to various fields of industry. Industry is a very broad term. So agriculture, forestry, gardening, fishing. So patents apply to various fields of business. So in short, this answer from the Finnish Patent Office web page just demonstrates that it's very difficult to ignore this. And it's becoming more difficult because patents are all the time, the numbers of patents are increasing that the companies are filing.
One question, please.
Yes.
You mentioned that 20 years is the maximum for your patent. Is the patent, is it possible that you put some attributes into the patent and prolong the existence of it for, let's say, another 20 years? Or, I mean, if you have like, let's say, what could be a good example, you have a medicine, for instance, and you prove the qualities of that medicine during the patent time, can you prolong it for another 20 years? You make some changes into it?
Well,
or is it a completely new patent?
In the medicine field, it's possible to have 5 years of more time, but it's more limited protection. And but then that's it. But you can, of course, you can always develop your patent or the invention that's disclosed in the patent. But then it's another patent application and another patent. So that's as far as it gets, 25 years at most, and that's in the medicine field. And in that field especially, there are lots of big investments to the product development, and needed, for example, to ensure our safety, people's safety, and that's why this is the reasoning why just this field has it's possible to have 5 years of extension. This now more visual content now. So this picture tries to give you a kind of idea, one mindset. So if you have a unique product with a certain technology, so you might feel like nobody else has this. So you can go to any markets. So the sea is your market, and basically all the countries could be the sea, and you can go everywhere with that, with your product. And nobody's preventing you. You can have an engine in your sailboat, so you can ignore the wind conditions. So and it would be nice. This idealistic picture. But the second picture is not that idealistic. It's a kind of pessimist view into the conditions in the sea. So you have kayaks and everyone is pushing each other. You can't make it from the one point A, for example, to point B here somewhere across the screen. It's impossible. Everyone affects everyone. So it's not a very good way to travel in a kayak in this scenario. In a nutshell, the IPRs and patents facilitate that you have your own space. At least in this space you can travel with more freedom. And the other ones can't come here unless you give them a license. And now the examples. So one of these companies, so one company is Nuance Communications, a US company, and the other company is Lingo. And Lingo is a kind of the startup in this example. And they are are both in the field of speech recognition, recognizing what people say. And Lingo is founded in 2006 to start with, and now the patent databases give information from both of these companies. So once we have news, so we can go to the patent databases and look for what's happening. What's this company doing? And for Nuance, we found that I did a quick search, and I found over 2,000 patent applications. So they have quite a large patent portfolio. And they have very early first applications, and you can notice that this is 1998, and this means that it's still in force. Could be in force, because it's 20 years. So very young portfolio. What about Lingo? They have also paid attention to IPR matters. So here, this is actually 2 applications, as I recall, in 2007. But it's quite fast movements in the IPR field, because they were only established in 2006. So they have already made an application in 2007. So they have it going good. But nevertheless, Nuance did something, and they filed a lawsuit in the US and alleged that Lingo violated this US patent. And this is not good if you are claimed that if there's a claim that you infringe a patent, because this can end your business quite fast. And once you get the notice of infringement, then you are on a time scale. You are on a clock, because you have to respond. You need assistance from lawyers, and that starts costing money. So I don't know what happened beforehand, but you should always have some negotiations before this happens. But maybe there wasn't anything to negotiate. I didn't look into that in more detail, but you should have patents so that you can negotiate, so that you don't get sued. So there's interest also for Nuance, could have been interest for Nuance to negotiate first before filing the lawsuit. Okay, well, 2010, so it takes years. A patent lawsuit can take years, and in 2010, Lingo tried to improve their position by buying some patents from a company called Intellectual Ventures. So there's a company who has acquired patents, and they are looking for people who want to buy, or companies who want to buy them. And lucky for Lingo, there were patents available that were interesting for Lingo, and could be used by Lingo to help their position against Nuance. And the ultimate aim of course, was that Nuance would drop this annoying lawsuit which was causing trouble to business. And I found some comments by the Lingo CEO, and the intention was that these patents bought from the Intellectual Ventures would have evened the playing field, and there would be a settlement with Nuance and Lingo. And most importantly, this can be well understood that it's not very productive to have these lawsuits. So that's why negotiations and agreements and settlements should be made. Nevertheless, Nuance filed more lawsuits, and it's already infringed, so that they accused Lingo to infringe 5 patents. So this was looking even worse for Lingo. And arriving in 2011, there were already 7 open lawsuits, with both claiming that they are infringing each other's patents, and other lawsuits as well. So looking very bad, and it's like a very large scale case already. But luckily, at least for the first infringement, there was a decision that there was no infringement, and finally Nuance acquired Lingo. That might not sound such a great end for Lingo, but still you could also consider that, okay, a startup caught in lawsuits. So what could happen? You get into bankruptcy because you are short of money, you can't afford it. But still they managed quite many years, and you could say that Lingo is still alive as part of Nuance. So it's not complete loss anyway. But here in this example, patents were utilized even by a startup company to improve their position and to challenge the bigger one. So it's easy to say now afterwards, so respect others' IPR. So Lingo, I think they had done this because they had filed also their own patent applications, and in the end, as we saw, that there was a jury decision, a court decision, that Lingo didn't infringe Nuance's patent. So they had done their homework apparently, and they had acquired their own IPR. They did also they bought it because they didn't have suitable patents that they could use against Nuance. So they bought some more patents. But you should also always be prepared, because it's once you don't have your own patent applications, it takes years to grow them into patents. So once you get the lawsuit and you don't have any IPRs, it's pretty late.
How do you know this naive question? But how do you might not know that you are even infringing any patent or any IPR? What you're doing? Is there like?
There's no 100% certainty about that, but you could do some searching for the patents in the patent databases. So firstly, you have to look at your own business. So what is the country you want to operate in, and then you make patent searches in that country, and whether there are patents that could be of interest to you. But you would need to know if you are infringing, and that way we could try to find out that what is the risk. We are talking about risks, and those are the canoes, the patents that will cause harm to our progressing in the sea. So our canoe can't progress to the destination when the other one pushes with his patents, his canoe. But this example is a Finnish company, and doesn't involve lawsuits, but it's more like more brighter example in a way about how you could use patents even as a startup, and an example how a startup has a strategy of a startup of utilizing patents. So Bekasor is a leading cleantech company in the field of particle emission monitoring. It's a pretty young company, but still it has quite many patent families in a globally broad field. Korea, Brazil, Mexico, Russia, naming the more exotic countries. And the idea, sorry, this is in English, but in brief, the idea in Bekasor is that you can utilize patents to expand your business to a global one, because you don't have to have your own facilities in every country. You can search for partners in the countries. They can be local partners, they don't have to be global partners. But once you have the patents, you have the right to deny others, and that gives you the possibility that you can license your technology to your selected party in the country of your selection. So with low resources, you don't need that much resources once you have something to license. And also, the patents are of benefit when you think about investors. And Pegasus has attracted investors. They've been bought by American company, and they will notice that their inventions, due to their innovations, they have been rated as many times as the leading, amongst the leading Nordic clean tech companies. So there are also the patents and innovations are benefit also with attracting investors. So now, after these two examples, I will give you a brief explanation, and you might also have some questions, some detailed questions about this example. So please free to ask. But still, how do you actually do it? So one example: how would you start building your portfolio as a Finnish company? So you could, if we start today, we will file a patent application in Finland, and this is the patent office in Finland, IPRs. And why would you do that in Finland? It's because you perhaps have manufacturing, or you are offering for sale your products here in Finland, and you have all your operations here. So that's a good reason to file the patent application in Finland. If you do business in other countries, you might consider those countries for your first application. And once we file the patent application, the officer, the authority, IPRs, gives their opinion whether they consider that they can grant you the patent. And this opinion you will receive it within 1 year. And there is even possibility that you can receive further opinions, even 2, in 10 months. So we would have that in February 2007. So the reason to be interested in having more opinions is that you have first opinion, so then you make corrections to the patent application, and then after that the authority tells you whether these corrections have been sufficient, and you can be granted a patent. And what you do within 12 months, within 1 year, you should protect other markets than Finland. And this is easily done by PCT application, because then this PCT application covers 48 countries. So in this PCT application is good because you don't have to know in detail which countries are of interest. And then using the PCT application, the next step to really know which countries you want to have the invention protected is October 2018 at the latest. So in this way we can progress from 2016 to late 2018 without still not yet fixing anything which are the markets, but covering only the most important market, that is where we are based. And one reason to consider to file in Finland is that the patent office fees are rather low and compared to other, and the quality is good, I would say. T.A. Gaskins has said that if you don't build your dreams, someone will hire you to build theirs. IPRs are building blocks also for companies. So we could rephrase this. IPR side, if you don't build your own IPR, someone will do it to build their company. They will use the IPRs you could have had to build their company IPRs, to have your IPRs as their company's building blocks.
(148 countries). Does that include countries in Asia like China or?
Indeed, yeah,
It does.
It's, well, almost all of countries of significance are in those 148 countries. I remember there's one country in South America which doesn't have a patent system, as I recall. So if you find out that country, so then that's if you don't like patents, you can do business there. So that's a good selection.
But even if China is included in this system, there's a lot of copies and like products coming from that area, duplicates and
Yeah.
stuff.
Indeed, that's the way China works, but still it doesn't say that IPR wouldn't be any of significance there, and they have new courts put in place not that many years ago, and that are operational. They are taking cases in and making judgments of infringement, and I think, as I recall, I saw a video. There was a former US PTO director there and some Chinese representative in IPR matters, and they were telling that China is actually the country with most IPR cases in courts. So not the US, but China is the leading in the numbers. But then again, in the numbers of cases, but then in money-wise, so US is the biggest. And there's the legislation is the reason for that, because in China the compensations can't be that high. But still, lots of, as with the numbers, so there are lots of trials in China. So IPR rights are enforced. Well, that's all I had prepared for today. So if you have any questions.
Yeah. In case of having conflict between two companies, for example, like the case you showed, during the time that the court is giving the decision, are these two companies able to use the patent that is in conflict?
So do perhaps you mean that is it possible that they can continue sales, for example? Yeah. Yeah, it's possible that they can continue sales. It depends on what kind of if the court has ordered that the sales must be stopped, so then it's another thing. But if they don't order that, so they can continue. But then once there's a lawsuit, so then there's no you have a kind of chance of really that happening, so you don't want that. So but of course it's a higher likelihood than if you don't have a lawsuit going on. So that's why we wouldn't prefer having any lawsuits, and we should negotiate beforehand.
Is there any special things to take under consideration when you're working with digital products or software, as everything changes so rapidly in that environment? 20 years if you have a 20 years patent in a software environment, it sounds awfully much.
I understand, but then again, from the patent perspective, they are not so. The patent is basically you have to patent scope of protection, the right to deny others. it's defined by words, and how I think that's not so easy to be technology dependent. So you might as well infringe the patent even though your technology advances. So the pace in practice in business might be fast, but still the patent might be still applicable to the future products. So I think this is something that is often misunderstood, that even though the technology advances very quickly, it doesn't say that your patent wouldn't apply to the future products, because they are not. It's really the system itself that it's made such that you can't restrict the patents into certain standard, for example, or they shouldn't be drafted in that way. But of course, there's a danger. You're right. Of course, that if you write very detailed patent, so it might be very easy to become obsolete, because the technology, it's so detailed. It's just so many features, I would say, in patent jargon, that it doesn't apply anymore. It's easy to circumvent that. Easy to see that this doesn't anymore happen in the new products you have. And in the digital devices, and anyway, I think the main thing is to understand that programming is technical work, and it's something that its results can be protected by patents. I think that's the most important thing to do. To know about current technologies which are now in the mega trends, and so even though, so once you are programming, you are doing development and improving existing products, and really something is valuable work, and you should really appreciate it as much, to file a patent and appreciate it such that understand that somebody might have patented it. And it's not completely, then the basic rule is that software can't be patented, but in practice you can actually protect the device that runs the software. So in a way, this doesn't apply. You can protect the idea that your software makes. You can protect it by the device. So it's possible.
So software cannot be patented.
Yeah. You could say software can be patented. That is, yeah. It is code. That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Code can't be patented. It's considered a work of literal work, like a book. So that's why you have to define it in another way. You have to define it by what kind of operations it causes in the device, which is usually the computer or some computing device. And those computing devices, intelligence is improving in all fields of technology, all fields of industries. So we have computers everywhere. So actually thinking about that, so you arrive that software causes new functionalities in paper machines and such. So it's very important. You can't make new features to the products without software anymore. At least it's increasingly coming such.
Do we have more questions? No? Well, then I thank you all and give applause to Jukka. Thank you for coming. We have now some time if we want